Hello all and welcome back. In this video we are going to learn how to deal with missing values in a data frame in Pandas. So let's begin. So as you can see, I have a data set with me, and this data set contains the sales data of a normal retail business. Okay, so we have the date, like 10 different dates, and number of sales corresponding to those days, and we have the income here, and we have like if it is a profit or loss. Okay, we have missing values here. Fine. So as you can see, when you check the number of sales, it is almost like around 20 to 16, right? And the income is also kind of stable, like it fluctuates between 20 to 26,000. Yeah, so we can say this is kind of like a stable, stable business. Fine. So I have saved this data set as a CSV file, and I have named it sales.csv, and I have saved it in my current working directory. Okay, and yeah, this is my current working directory. Along with my Jupyter notebook file, I have my CSV file named as sales.csv. Fine. Now let us quickly import the Pandas library into the code, and let's import the CSV file into the code and visualize it in the form of a data frame. Okay, so let's import the library first. For that, I'm going to type import Pandas as PD. Okay, and the next step, let's import the CSV file. For that, we have to type pd dot read underscore CSV, and inside the bracket provide the name of the CSV file, and in our case it is sales.csv. Okay, and when we run it, we have this particular data set here in the form of a data frame. Fine. So I don't want this row index as this here. I just want index as this date column alone. So what I can do is just press a shift tab, and as you can see, we have index column here, right? So we can just provide comma the second parameter index column as I want my date column as the index column. Okay, then run it, and we have the date column as our index column, right? Cool. Now you might have already noticed that the missing values are considered or read as NaN values, right? Now there are different methods or ways to deal with NaN values. Okay, so one way is to drop all the columns which contain NaN values, and it might suit some cases and it might not suit some cases. The other way is to fill these NaN values with some value that makes sense, right? So in this video we are going to learn about filling NaN values with some particular value. Let's get to that. So in this case we have NaN values in all these columns, right? So what we can do is we can use the fill NA method and try to fill NaN values with some data or some value. Okay, first let's copy this data frame into a variable which is df, and let's see df here. Okay, so this is df, and I'm going to fill NaN values inside df with a particular value. So in this case I'm going to just provide df dot fill NA, and use the fill NA method, and inside that provide the value with which you want to replace NaN values. For example, I'm going to give 0 here. So whenever it finds an NaN value, it will replace that with this method will replace it with 0. Okay, so once I run this, I get a new data frame with NaN values replaced with 0. So 0 makes sense in number of sales, 0 makes sense in income, but 0 doesn't make any sense in final, right? So the final column is like string column, right? It has string values, and what we could do is we can provide 0 in this and this, and in the case of final we can provide some other value. And how can we do that? Let's see. For instance, let's fill these NA values with the average of the corresponding column. Okay, so in this case we will fill NA values with average of the number of sales column, and for income let's fill with the average of this particular column, and for final let's fill maybe like NA values with neither. Okay, so our original data frame is this. Okay, And when we compare it to this, let's fill NaN values in final with neither, and income and number of sales with the average of the corresponding values. Okay, so let's find the average of this column. Okay, so in order to find the average of this particular column, first of all we have to access that column, and that is done by this df, then a square bracket, inside that specify the name of the column, number of sales, right? And now that the column is accessed, then dot operator, then use the mean function. Okay, and run this, and we get the mean as 19.285. For instance, let's take 19 as the average. Okay, so we have to fill this column, NaN values in this column with 19. Okay, let's copy this, and let's see what is the mean of the column income column. So income, and let's run this. It is 22750, and let's give 22,000. Okay, so how do we give separate values for NA values in separate columns? Let's see. We can provide a dictionary inside the fill NA method like this. So pd dot fill NA, and inside that provide a dictionary, and as the key provide the name of the column, and as the value provide the value that we want to replace NA values with. So first key, which is the name of the column, which is number of sales, and replace NA values in number of sales with, in this case let it be 19. Okay, comma the second column, which is income, and inside income replace NA values with 22,000. Okay, and finally replace the final column with replace the NA values of the final column with neither. Okay, run this, and we are getting an error. Fill NA pandas as okay, okay, so we have to do df dot fill NA, and we have this. Okay, fine. Now as you can see, NaN values, let's compare it with the original df. Okay, so NaN values of this column is replaced with 19 here, 19 here, and we have NaN values replaced with neither values here, and we have NaN values replaced with 22,000 here. That is awesome. Now one other way to fill NA values, which makes a much more sense than filling it with average values, is like when I just open df, I can see like these are like adjacent days, right? 5 and then 6, and then we have like 1 day gap to 8. Fine. So it makes much sense when NaN values replaced with some values near to 19, right? Because we don't have much fluctuation values in these dates. These are like adjacent dates, like and we don't have much fluctuating values here. So it makes much more sense when we have this value replaced with some values somewhere in between 16 and 22. So what we can do is we can do a forward fill, which means it carry forwards the previous value into the NaN values. Let's see what I mean by that. So df dot fill NA, and inside the bracket let's specify the method as forward fill or f fill, and let's run this, and we get a new data frame in which NaN values carry forward the value of the previous value. As you can see, the NaN value carry forwarded the previous value, which is 19. It took up 19 here, and in these two places it took up the previous value, which is 21. These values carry forwarded into the NaN values. The same happens here. 18,000 is carry forwarded here, and the same happens here. Fine. And we can do the same with the backward fill, which carry backwards the next value. For example, 16 will be carried backward for in the place of NaN here. So let's copy this and paste it here, and just change it to backward fill or b fill, and run this again and compare it with the original data frame. And as you can see, 16 is carry forwarded here in this case, and we have 25 carry backward here, and this lows is carried backward here also. Fine. And as you can see, in the original data frame we have two adjacent NaN values, right? So when we do forward fill here, for example, in this, okay, when we do forward fill here, we get 21 copied to two places, right? What if we don't want 21 to be copied two times and just want one time? And so that for that we can specify a limit for that, and we can specify limit equal to 1, and 21 will be only carry forwarded one time. And as you can see, 21 is only carry forward into the next adjacent cell and not to the other cell. Fine. And this is like row wise carry forward. What if I want to carry forward data from the adjacent columns? Like if I want to carry forward data from this column to this column, and for that we can specify access, and by default access is set to rows. As you can see, carry forwards data from one row to the same row, and when we chain this into columns, we can see this particular, we can compare it this, and 25,000 is carry forwarded into the next column here, and the same happens in this particular column. So 21 is carry forwarded into this particular column, as you can see. So that is about dealing with missing values for this video. We'll discuss about more methods to deal with missing values in the upcoming video. So until then, bye bye.